From our studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee. Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. I'm coming to you here from my own home in front of my hearth here in Spirit Lake. I'm Jeff Thee. With me today, oh my goodness, hometown girl, Nashville recording artist Shannon Brown Silva is here with us today. And Shannon, welcome back to Okoboji.
Thank you. It's good to be back with you today.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about, you've got a new Christmas album. I got a couple stories I got to share with you, okay? If that's all right.
Yes, that's great.
First of all, I saw the little promo that
I'll tell you if it's great after I hear them.
Okay. I'll reserve the judgment to you.
Yeah.
But first of all, I watched the promo you did for your Christmas album, and you did a live concert as well, live performance, and you talked about your grandmother, your Nana, as you said, I believe. Mm-hmm. And my mother and your grandmother, both coming from that business corner area of May City, Iowa, were mm-hmm. very close friends. And when you were still around here performing, my mother was always saying, oh, her grandma can sing so well. And when you talked about that with how your grandmother influenced you, that's your dad's mom, I believe.
Yep.
It was like, oh, it kind of meant something to me. Now, story number 2, okay. Uh-huh. I moved back here in 1991 from Los Angeles, California, and I looked it. If you remember, I had the long lion's mane hair.
Yep, I remember.
And the dangly earring and these outfits so I went into this place in Spirit Lake called the Marquee, you may know it. And I'm sure when I walked in, the reaction was, what is that? And I went and had a seat, my server came up, and I'm sure they were like, find out who this weirdo is. And the young lady asked me my name, where I was from. I told her. 30 seconds later, this pretty blonde comes running up to me and says, you're Jeff Thee? I used to change your diapers. It was your mother.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome.
I told her right away, I don't need my diapers changed anymore.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
That was a great thing. Still a good thing. I mean, I'm getting older, but
That's right. Yeah, now we're going backwards, like digressing, right? Oh my gosh. Not yet.
So there you go. Those are what I wanted to share with you, since we have that awesome May City connection and everything, and of course the Marquee that you folks had for so many years. I want to talk about Shannon Brown, A Classic Christmas, and of course you've been performing for so many years, and I can remember you doing karaoke here at the Marquee and give them something to talk about. But
yeah, that was my start. That's what got it all started.
That's exactly right, and we enjoyed it so much. But now you're recording in Nashville, and during this whole "the world is upside down" thing, you recorded a Christmas album, and I want to talk about with your Nana. And you talked about in your promo that you did of what an influence she was for you at Christmas.
Yes, yeah. So, my Nana and I were very close. I was close to both my grandparents. My dad's mother, Helen Brown, lived in Hartley, Iowa, mm-hmm. and she would just have the most elaborate decorations, and I don't know. I just remember the baking and the just the joy and the love that surrounded the holidays with her, and I was always enamored by her beautiful wreaths and her elaborate Christmas tree, and my Nana was always to the nines. She never went a day without her nails painted. She was fabulous. She was just kind of in my eyes, she was kind of like a movie star to me. Like, I just looked up to her so much, and she was so kind-hearted and loving.
Right.
And I don't know. I just had such a wonderful relationship with her, and I cherish those memories. And so when I think of Christmas and I think of decorating, Nana kind of comes to my mind first. Now my grandma Joyce, she was really the baker. When I think of my grandma, I think of all the amazing cookies and scotcheroos and the bars that she made, and hundreds and hundreds of cookies and just treats for the holidays. And it was such a diverse separation. My Nana, was a little more lavish, and my grandma was kind of a little more low key. And I appreciate both. I love the simplicity that we had with my grandpa and my grandma in May City, and then I love kind of those getting dressed up and doing our hair and going to my Nana's and having prime rib and all of her her wonderful meatballs and all those things that become traditions now in my house.
Right.
I do both. I cook my grandma's cookies, and my mom makes my Nana's meatballs, and we decorate our house, and the front of our house we are pretty lavish with too. We go all out and do a lot of lights and inflatables, and that's kind of grown throughout the years. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And those
joy.
Christmas memories come back to you with all those traditions that you carry on.
They really do. Every year I relive it, and I hope that my kids, that what I'm doing will resonate with them and pass on to them a love for the holidays. I don't know if anyone watched my special. My son talked about how, I gave him kind of a guilt trip, because he's a teenager and he's not always, sometimes he helps great, and sometimes he's like, I'm not in the mood.
I'm familiar, yeah.
Yeah. And so I kind of laid it in on him a little bit, and he was like, Mom, I don't know if there's anyone in the world that could love Christmas more than you, which I thought was a sweet story, but he kind of has a point. Like, I don't know either. But I hope that he can take a piece of it with him and do it in a way like I have, we have.
So was all this kind of the influence for you to create your Christmas album, Shannon?
Yeah, so in the beginning of COVID, or I guess more towards the middle of COVID, because we have so many friends and so many people, industry friends, songwriters, musicians, artists, that like so many were just kind of jobless and, without an outlet to really use their craft and their talents. We decided to my husband kind of came up with the concept for the glass house. And really what that is our office. And in our office, he created a conference room with glass walls.
Oh, cool.
And so the glass conference room became the Glass House studio. And the acoustics in there are so fantastic. We went in one day and just started messing around and playing. He was like, what do you think, could we do a show in here? And I thought, oh my gosh, yes, this would be amazing. So with the help of some friends from Stereophonics Films and their sound, they came in to help us. They were really more experienced with the live performance and being able to sonically get the quality of sound that we wanted for a live performance. So we brought them in and coupled with them and did our very first Live at the Glass House. And it was me. And then that's when we, through COVID, our son Tanner, started really focusing on his music because, we didn't have, we're a very, very busy family and the kids are in a lot of things. They race bikes and, play sports and they're big dancers. And a lot of that, eats up a lot of our time.
Yeah.
And in that is transport. But all of a sudden they were doing a lot of that stuff still in Zoom, but we weren't having to drive anywhere. So there were all these, extra moments in the day that he had to fill. And so he started writing and playing guitar. And, we would have guitar pulls at night in front of the fireplace and in the yard, by the courtyard. And,
right.
And it became just really this organic, magical progression for him. And so when we did the Glass House, the first show, we thought he had written this song, and we were both so impressed with it, as were several of our friends. And we thought, why not feature him and do something, make this more of a family event and not necessarily about me per se.
Right.
Because I was just kind of in a lot of ways, the first episode was more me to be a guinea pig and to see if it would even work. And so I agreed, and and I hadn't played or performed in quite some time.
Right.
But it was really a lot of fun, and it kind of sparked, it kind of reignited the fire that I have in my belly for music and for performing especially, and for using the talent that God gave me.
Exactly,
and,
right.
I kind of put that to bed for a little while, and I always knew that there would be a season for me to come back around. I just didn't know when and what that would look like exactly. So this really just all happened organically. And then, we've done other Glass House events that, didn't include me. And then we did another one with me again. And after that, the response just kept on growing and was positive, that Sean was like, why don't you go in and record a Christmas album, and then we'll do a Christmas show? And I was like, that was like magic to my ears, because I had always dreamed about making a Christmas album. But, I never really, I don't know. I mean, it's not inexpensive to record music.
Oh, heavens no.
And I've always had record labels to help me and support me. And, I'm doing this all on my own this time, which actually is quite okay, but I'm learning a lot.
Okay. It's fun having that creative. It's fun having that creative control too.
It really is, and but because of that too, then you get to, in your mind, you're like, you poo-poo the idea and think, oh no, that'll be too hard. Oh no, it'll cost too much. But then when he challenged me to do it, I thought, okay, I'm up for the challenge. I'm going to figure this out. Yeah. And so I made some phone calls, and sure enough, it came together beautifully, and we did it as simply as we could. It has always been my dream to kind of make a jazz record.
Right.
It deviates a little bit from my country roots, but my grandfather was a jazz musician himself.
Yeah.
My father was a musician. So I have this love and deep appreciation for jazz and big band, and I think that's one of the reasons I love Christmas music so much, because it lends itself to that so much.
Sure.
And so with that in mind, that's what I want. I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. That was the kind of record, and the sound that I wanted to make was a classic jazz sounding record. I couldn't, afford a big orchestra, so I have a friend who played on my Cornfred album and did a bunch of strings for me, and he basically builds the string section himself, and he plays viola and violin and cello, and so there's layers and layers of these instruments in the record. We didn't have them in the Glass House with us, but in the record, so it's basically just three guys, myself and Jonathan, and a sax player that we got to come in, and so it's really simple, and it's it's just me and my vocals, and then of course I invited my son Tanner to do one with me, because I felt like this was really more about creating a moment for us, and not just about making a record and trying to sell my record and make revenue necessarily. It was more about creating a legacy, something that will carry on for years and years and generations, and I wanted him to be a part of it.
Yes. Well, and think about it, Shannon, when he looks back someday, when he's an adult, as you look back with your grandmother, your Nana, and he's going to think about, remember when Mom and I recorded this together? That's going to take all those memories you have, those very special traditions, and instill something very special in him.
That's right. I hope so. I think so. I think, I think it already does. And so I think as he gets older, it'll just be even deeper and more meaningful. And even for our youngest son, Tristan, who was in the studio with us, and, just a part of it, he'll have the memory of being there and participating in that way. So
exactly right. So
it was a really wonderful experience. I'm, no matter what happens with it, I'm just really thankful and glad that we did it.
I love the idea of the original arrangements that you did, Shannon, and infusing some of the jazz and so forth. We hear so many of the Christmas classics, and sometimes they bounce off our ears because we've heard them so many times. This is going to infuse a new take with these special arrangements, and purely you. That's the fun part.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, dear. And so it dropped on, or is it available on iTunes? I think it released on the 4th. Is that right?
That's right. Right. It became available on the 4th of December. It is on iTunes Store, so you can go into iTunes Store and purchase the EP there, or you can stream it in iMusic or Spotify.
Okay.
But if you want to support the cause and support me, to purchase it would be the best thing to do, because that allows us to, pay for the project and hopefully then continue to do more, which is the ultimate goal. I don't want this to be the end, that's for sure. It started, the snowballs started, and I'm looking for it to get bigger.
And I have no doubt, Shannon, that it will indeed, with all your miraculous talents and the apple not falling far from the tree with your kids and so forth. So, I just want to remind you, we still have a roof garden and a preservation plaza. If Shannon Brown would ever love to come back and perform in Okoboji.
I would love to come back. Well, when we can start playing live, my gosh, I'll be in line. That's for sure. I would love to come do that. I think that would be a ton of fun.
Well, we're only one inoculation away.
Yes, right?
Let's set the world right. Let's take it off of the tilt and set it right where she was before. But it's so great that you've taken this time and doing something very special, Shannon, sharing with your family, sharing with your friends. And I know you're going to have and don't you have a son having a birthday today?
He is, yes. He's turning 14 today. He turned 14, I guess. Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe how quickly time flies.
It does indeed, and it's great that you've taken this time and done something very special. I appreciate, Shannon, you taking time with me and chatting with me.
Well, when I heard from you, Jeff, it was a no-brainer, of course, anytime. I love you, appreciate your reaching out, and anytime I can get back home, even if it's virtually, I'm all in. So thank you so much.
My pleasure indeed. And remember that Shannon's Classic Christmas is available on iTunes, and support the cause and support a local artist here that's a recording artist down in Nashville. We're so thrilled to have her here with us today. Merry Christmas to you. Please say hi to your parents if you would.
I sure will. Merry Christmas to you too. Merry Christmas to everyone watching. Sending all of our love and great vibes and energy your way. And hopefully I'll be able to get home soon.
Very good. Thank you, Shannon. Our guest has been Shannon Brown Silva. Of course, again, local girl here down in Nashville, Tennessee, and recording Christmas album coming. It is available now on iTunes. As I said, we want to thank Shannon for taking time with us. And hey, I want to thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast. Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you by the Scott Troutman State Farm Agency in Spirit Lake, Pure Fishing in Spirit Lake, Last Touch Painting and Cleaning, providing interior, exterior, house painting, and professional cleaning services in Spirit Lake. Quest Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services. Advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. Ducky's Marine and Motorsports Repair in Spirit Lake. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Attorney Bethany Brands at Brands Law Office in Spirit Lake. Ruthven Locker at the Lake, where carnivores are welcome on Hill Avenue in Spirit Lake. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji. By Michael Thorson with Farm Bureau Insurance in Spirit Lake.